Welcome to another episode of HCP Visits. Here is your host, Woody Watts.
Welcome to another episode from Hill City Paranormal. I'm Woody Watts. For this episode, I'm digging back into the archives. A few years ago, we produced a series titled I Believe with Rick Rambleman, and that series really came from my love of all things Art Bell and Coast to Coast, and really late night radio shows in general. While we don't produce that anymore or make any new episodes, the interviews and people we had on that show were fantastic. So here's an episode where our host interviews a local paranormal investigator with years of experience. Now keep in mind the I Believe phone number you hear is no longer active, and if you'd like to call our new number with your experience, call 434-381-0242 instead. And now, here is I Believe.
Welcome back, believers. This is I Believe with Rick Rambleman. Believers, the new season finds us in a new location. A lonely, ramshackle general store along a country byway with surprisingly a decent amount of traffic. And I have to say that I wonder, as the cars drift by in the darkness, what do their drivers believe? Today, we have a wonderful guest, Alan, who is a paranormal investigator. But before I get to chat with Alan, I do want to follow our tradition and read some listener emails. And this one comes from Natasha from Alamucci, New Jersey. They're laughing here in the studio, but Alamucci is an actual place. It's in New Jersey. It's not too far from where I grew up. Actually, I went to a Cub Scout Gold Rush Klondike event in Alamucci, New Jersey, and it was awful. It was pouring down rain the entire time, and that's not the only reason why it was awful. But I digress. So Natasha from Alamucci, New Jersey writes, are there any more episodes or seasons of your podcast, or was your show just another flash-in-the-pan lark like everyone else and his brother doing podcasts these days? Natasha, I appreciate your interest in the show and seemingly your interest in hearing more episodes. And what follows is your answer. Okay, now I'm going to welcome our guest, Alan, our paranormal investigator, and I believe Alan is on line one. Alan, this is Rick. How you doing?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming on the program.
I'm glad you guys could have me.
Yes. We're very excited to talk to you. I would like you to just tell us what it is you do. I understand you're a paranormal investigator. Do you accept that title? And if so, what is it that you investigate?
Yeah, actually, I'm actually an investigator and a researcher. The only thing that I really have investigated is, I guess you would call the ghost and haunting side of it. But I'm interested in, the cryptozoology side, the extraterrestrial side, ancient mysteries. I'm pretty much interested in all of it, but as far as investigating, it's only been like the ghost and haunting side.
Okay. How did you get started?
You mean as far as the investigation part, or?
Tell me about how you got started as an actual investigator. Yes.
Okay. So for years, I'd had, just little things happen, and I've always had a curiosity for, I guess you would say, the macabre. So I guess it was just a natural progression of trying to find out exactly what it is that I've been experiencing over the years.
So these were things in your own life that made you question, and then once you questioned, you started researching, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Now, beyond that, do you investigate what happens to others?
So we have a little bit. So I wear many different hats. So I work with my own paranormal team, which is Apocalyptic Paranormal. But I also have I work with a bunch of friends. It's called the National Paranormal Society, where I guess you would tell me either second or third in line on that one as being in charge of that. And we've got right around, I think it's a little over 50,000 people on their on our Facebook site that we deal with. Yeah.
And that is nationwide, worldwide?
It's actually international. We've got some reps over in Africa, a couple in South America, and then I've got some friends in Australia that help along with it as well.
So now, with that, are you traveling to do these investigations, or is it that each of these chapters, or what have you, are doing their own investigations in their own locations and then aggregating the info in this one organization?
Yeah, so what we do is we have a huge, I guess, a network of investigators all over the country and some overseas. And what happens is we kind of facilitate getting these people to them, the ones that are having problems. And then we have like if it happens in my area, I'll go check them. And then, let's say if it was in Tennessee, I've got a group of friends there that can go and do that. So we just actually, on the page itself, we talk different things. People will bring, photos, videos, things like that for us to take a look at and stuff. But for the most part, we facilitate getting people help wherever they need it.
Sure. So the next question I was going to ask you was, how do the cases or clients find you? Are people, I don't want to sound flip, but is it like the Ghostbusters where, they're little old ladies calling you because there's a noise in her attic?
No, actually, there can be those in our area, since I guess you guys are based in Lynchburg as well, correct? Yeah. So in our area, everything so far, most of the stuff that we've gotten has just been trying to figure out a nice way to say this. It's been all in people's heads for the most part.
Okay. So
and
so a number of the cases,
me, that's what's. Yeah, go ahead.
So a number of the cases that you've worked turned out to be something that could be explained as a normal occurrence.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you share one that maybe seemed to have some promise of being something juicy but turned out to be something rather mundane?
I can give you a gist of something.
Sure.
Yeah. We're having people that were having a lot of activity sometime around, I would say, 1 to 3 o'clock in the middle of the night in the wintertime. And what we ended up finding on that is basically the temperature differentials in the house was causing, like the wood and all to crack and pop, basically just the house moving. So you've got throughout the day, the house is warming up on the outside, and even though you're still heating it on the outside, on the inside, as the temperature drops throughout the night, the wood starts, to move, and that was actually what was causing their footsteps and movement that they were hearing.
So you're really looking, you go in there looking to figure out what it is, not necessarily to get the interesting or sexy story that's going to explode, right?
Exactly. I want the truth, whether if I find out at the end of this that none of it was real and it was just all in their heads, I'm okay with that. I want to find a truth.
So when you approach a case, are you approaching with skepticism, or are you approaching with belief?
For the most part, I'm going to say it starts with skepticism, but you always have to keep in the back of your mind that anything is possible.
Sure.
And you have to leave your belief sets aside and go to it with just every case would be a blank slate.
Sure. And so you're looking, sometimes I would assume almost like a home inspector would. Like looking through the house.
My background, I'm a Class A contractor.
I'm
also a fire inspector, so
I was about to
a little bit.
I was about to ask if if you ever uncovered anything. Hey, you've got some serious plumbing problems or electrical problems here. Has that ever turned out to be the case, that someone thought they had a haunting and turns out that they had a serious problem with their house?
No, we haven't, but that's one things that we do see. We will point those things out just as a safety standpoint.
So you're coming off doubly as a straight shooter and an honest guy, because you're not looking to kind of scoop the sensational story, nor are you looking to make a buck on somebody because they might need some work done on their house. Okay, I really respect that. In terms of the process you go through, do you have like a phase where you look at things like a home inspector, and then if nothing turns out to be what I would say quote unquote normal, then you default to the next step in an algorithm, like, okay, now we break out some kind of sensors, or now we look for something that's a little less mundane? Is that how it works?
Yeah, like with us, if there are claims, we'll we send out and it's an 8-page questionnaire, and it's got all kinds of different things on there for them to answer. And then some parts it's repeating itself, just to kind of make sure the story is staying the same. To get past that, then it goes to a home interview where you go and you video it and you talk to the people and kind of look around the place itself. And if anything's kind of sketchy as far as anything illegal or whatever, we kind of shy away from that. I can't, with my professional job, I can't be in those places.
Sure.
So, and then after that, it goes into an investigation, and a lot of people will like to try to come in one time and say, yeah, it's haunted or not. But if people are really having problems and things are going on in their mind, we like to give them, not just one investigation, but quite a few. And there's no standard number of how many. It's just how many it takes for us to get something or to find out what the problem is. It could be 5, it could be 10. There's no set number.
And is this setting up audio equipment or video equipment?
Yeah, it's all of it, audio, video. My thing, I really like the audio side of it because I've gotten a lot better stuff, and it's harder to discount on audio to me, just because of photography and things like that. Things can, it could be glitches here and there, or different pixels that are screwed up and things that can show some things. So I really like the audio side.
So now, is this something that you set up and leave it for a certain amount of time, or do you tend to expect to capture that stuff while you're there?
Sometimes we will leave things, and we make sure to get, like the families, like during the interviews. That's one thing that we do, is so that we'll have voice of the people that are there as something to compare back to see if they're actually, if you hear something that's like, oh, well, no, that was the little girl talking, or that was, the mom, or.
And if you were to leave something, I would assume that that's the tedious side of research. Is it not, listening to the sounds of a house overnight?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you take the one that we did on Sunday, it's we were only there for 2-3 hours, but at 5 or 6 recorders, that really adds up, on time that you need to listen through everything. Much less if you find something, then you have to go through and put it through programs and look at the actual waveforms of stuff. So that takes quite a bit of time.
Now, the waveforms, that sounds like you're getting down to a deeper technical level. And I'm asking because I don't know at all. Is there a
Right.
waveform you're looking for that you point out and say, that's not human, or that's not animal, that is, that's paranormal? Is it at that level?
No, not yet. I honestly wish it was that easy. You're just looking at, so you'll be listening through and you can actually see all the normal background noise that you're getting, and then you'll see the other that's just right in there that you can see that something's coming through, but it's not as loud as your background. So it's somewhere within that spectrum, but you're just trying to pull that one piece out and isolate it so that you can hear it better.
So you're still looking at this like I would imagine a police detective looks at something. It's not like there are wavelengths for ghosts or wavelengths for, and I'm not trying to sound flip again, there's wavelengths for fairies and there's wavelengths for UFOs. You're really looking at this just like from a gritty standpoint of something happened here on this recording. Let's check it out.
Right. Yep,
okay.
Exactly.
So there isn't, again, some kind of program that weeds out ghosts or something that weeds out alien signals. This is purely we see the visual representation of sound in a waveform, and then we're going to go check that out and listen to it maybe once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times until we figure out what it is.
Right. Yeah. And then a lot of times you still end up finding out, oh, well, that was like an HVAC turning on or
Right.
something like that. So even though, it's an anomaly, it doesn't mean that it is paranormal,
So again, it sounds like you're really looking at this to figure out what is it, rather than, hey, let's get this great scoop on a haunting, or let's turn this into the next Amityville Horror.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I find is fascinating. Someone who's really doing the detective work here from a number of angles. Hey, it could be the house, it could be the people talking, it could be a whole number of other things. Let's rule out everything, and then maybe at the end we're left with something that needs to be investigated even further.
Yeah, that's our motto, is rule out all the plausible, and what you have left might be paranormal.
Okay. And so you're not afraid at the end of the day to say, yep, turned out to be a house settling, or it turned out to be the heat pump coming on.
No, not at all.
See, I find that's refreshing, and it's also fascinating because there are even scientists who are adhering to the scientific method might approach something with the intent of, I want to just find out the truth, but they want to get published. They want that splashy article to hit the scene, and so they maybe look to find some conclusions in the data that aren't there, or maybe are a stretch. And so even among the scientific community, you get people trying to find something that maybe isn't there. And yet you're in a community that I'm not saying isn't scientifically grounded, but might be full of people who really want there to be something else out there. And yet you're still approaching it from the fact-finding standpoint.
Right. And most of your groups that are actually out there trying to help people, that's what they're doing. Then you have your ones that are just, your blind believers, where everything is paranormal, no matter what it is. I mean, you could sit there and watch something happen and be like, oh no, that's not what did it. It was such and such, and that really kills it, because a lot of them are just trying to get a television show and trying to get notoriety.
Sure.
And the ones that are doing it just want truth,
Now, do you find, I could picture a situation where somebody, and I'm not poking any fun at the elderly, but you might find someone maybe suffering from a little bit of dementia, maybe just purely lonely, and they want some of the attention that comes with an investigation, or even just someone to come to their house. Have you encountered something like that?
Yeah. And sadly that does happen. Most of the time, if you just talk to them on the phone, the whole thing comes out, just be somebody that they can talk to. And a lot of times I'll tell them, I don't think there's anything that we need to check out, but if you just need to talk, here's my number. And most of them don't use it, but every once in a while you get somebody that does need just somebody to talk to, and they don't abuse it. It's usually just, their calls. Hey, I was kind of having something again, and I just wanted to just run it by you, and you can tell that, they're probably not really having something. They just want somebody to talk to for the day. And that's okay, because still, again, you're helping someone.
Sure. Now, do you find that there are people who are approaching not so much a haunting, like it's not something that is upsetting to them, but maybe they feel the presence of a loved one who is deceased and they want some confirmation that that is indeed the case? Have you ever encountered something like that?
I haven't. I've had a number of friends that have, and talking with them, from what I can understand, it makes it really hard, because it's harder to tell them, that, let's say they don't find something, and they want them so bad to be there with them. You kind of don't want to break the news to them, that doesn't mean that they're not here, but we haven't found anything,
Right. From a personal level, you talked about getting started because there were some things in your own experiences that you couldn't explain. Are there things out there, either from your past or in some recent cases, that still, pardon the expression, haunt you to this day, that you can't figure out, and it is still something that either bothers you or intrigues you?
Yeah. I guess you would say, for most of my life, I have seen what people like to call shadow people.
Really?
And I wouldn't say that they haunt me. They just kind of, I don't know, it makes me wonder what exactly it is. Is it a problem with my eyes, which I've gotten tested, and the only thing I have is astigmatism. And technically that doesn't really, explain what I'm seeing. That's one thing. Other thing, which would probably be more interested for you, we were doing for the group that I work with, an investigation at St. Albans in Radford, Virginia. And we were going upstairs to set up it's called a psychomanium chamber. Basically, you place some mirrors in a small location with a flickering light. And whether it's brain waves or whatever that's making it happen, you see things in those mirrors. So we were going to set up one of those to pretty much figured it'd be kind of fun for the people to do. And so I was walking past this stairway that goes down to where they used to do electroshock. And I had a headlamp on and was kind of to the side. And as I was walking by, I saw something out the corner of my eye. So I turned, and in the dead light of this is the only thing the best thing I guess I could describe it as is it was a human body with a pig face. And it's walking up the steps, and it looks up, and it gives me this, and I can still see it now. It's like, it looks at me kind of like, it's kind of like you can see me, that kind of look, And I had my wife and my cousin were behind me, probably, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 feet was my wife, and then probably about 10 feet behind her was my cousin, and right after it looked up and it gave me that look, it turned and went into almost like you've seen the things on cartoons where they go from full standing and then it just zips off, like it leaves like this little kind of goes in like a triangular, path looking thing, and it just goes around the corner. And my wife goes, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, what was it?" I was like, "Nothing." So we went on up, and they went off to do their thing, and I went upstairs and talked to the other people that was with me about what happened, and we actually went back looking for it, and we found it, but it definitely didn't like us there for some reason or another.
Ooh,
so I
explain
keep
a little
going
more
back
about
to St. Albans all the time for that.
So tell me about finding it. What did you find?
So we ended up seeing it one more time, but this time, so it was three of us in a line, and so the guy in the middle, he's probably, I want to say 6'5", 280, 290, somewhere in there, and the guy that was behind him, I'd say he's 6'1", and probably about the same weight. And we're walking up the stairs, and he turns and sees it, and it like pushes him. So it's pushing that guy into the guy in the middle and into me, and it's like they're just shoving us up the steps. Go right back down there, and nothing. It's like nothing was ever there anymore.
So that was something you felt more than saw.
Yeah.
That time?
Well, they saw it first, but a few seconds later, that was the feel. Yeah.
Oh. So there were, in that instance at St. Albans, and hold that thought for a second, St. Albans, there were three people who saw that, your two colleagues and yourself. Okay. Tell me a little bit for our listeners about St. Albans. That's in the region here in Central Virginia, but tell our listeners a little bit about St. Albans, please.
Okay. So St. Albans started off as a boys' school, a Lutheran boys' school. It was pretty rough for the time. One of their accolades was that they beat Virginia Tech in football. So I guess back then, it was still a thing to really beat the bigger schools, because they were just this little Lutheran boys' school.
Sure.
They were always fighting, things like that. That ended up getting disbanded and went up for sale. Dr. King worked at Western State Hospital in Stanton. Due to everything that was going on there, he actually wanted to leave and make his own institution, if you will, that was a lot better, that treated its patients better than anything in the area. So he bought St. Albans, which was St. Albans Boys School then. So he took that, added on to it, made it into a sanitarium, and treated patients for quite a while. They did electroshock, hydrotherapy, and insulin therapy. The insulin, I'm sure everybody's heard of the others, but the insulin therapy is where they would actually drop your blood sugar down really low and then force the sugar back into you, just, with like a dextrose mixture or whatever. And it was supposed to shock your body back into being sane again, I guess is, for a lack of better words for it. And then it actually ended up going into a general practice hospital in the 80s and ended up, I think the last years was the early 90s that it was used.
And when was this insulin therapy, which I really hadn't never heard of, when was that taking place? Up until the 90s?
No. That was, I would say the 50s, 60s era, probably.
Sort of that same era of electroshock.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Closes down.
Yeah, so it was actually a Club Med, really, for psychiatric patients. I mean, because he loved his patients. Everybody likes to look at the darker side of stuff, but, you kind of look at things now, 30, 40 years from now, we're going to look back and some of the things that we're doing is barbaric. But
Absolutely.
for their time, that was more humane than what others were doing.
So the idea, though, was that this was a well-maintained institution, and the patients were well taken care of. There was a true design to really treat people there.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't lock them away kind of thing.
Oh, no.
So it doesn't
very hands-on.
It doesn't have that typical horror movie image of an institution where it's kind of a freak show jail. This was a treatment facility,
right.
Seemingly well staffed and done with care.
Yeah. But I mean, you've always got all these people out there that want to twist other stories and make it seem like it was more than it was. And I don't quite understand that, but whatever.
Sure, but
it
then
helps them get ratings.
Right, but then there are at least some stories or some unexplained phenomena going on, and you've researched those, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So beyond seeing this figure and being, or some of your colleagues being pushed by this figure, what brought you there? What were the events? What were the unexplained things that brought you there to investigate?
The first time we went is because we had just we were looking for places to go and didn't realize that they actually allowed people to come in and investigate. So I had contacted Marcel, the owner, and she had started doing or allowing paranormal groups come in to just do investigations overnight, and we decided to go for it. And first time I went there, nothing at all happened. It was just like you were at somebody's house, It was just flat, nothing went on at all. And but I fell in love with the building itself and the people that ran it, and that kept me coming back. And the more and more you go back there, the more and more things, I guess, I don't know if they get used to you, or if, say, other people coming in all the time are bringing stuff with them and leaving it,
Now, is the I'm going to call it, the pig creature, is that something that others have documented seeing or experiencing, or does that seem to be a personal experience between the three of you?
I've only heard of the story of one or two others have explained it that way. You'll hear some other ones talk about a goat man, or I can't remember the other animal, but it's always an animal-human hybrid. And it makes me wonder that if it's something that presents itself differently all the time,
And have you had any further research of it? Has that caused you to look into, is that something else that's seen in other places, or does it seem to be a St. Albans thing?
The only thing that I could find, I think it was, I want to say Hindu, but I can't remember 100% exactly what religion it was, but it was almost to a T described what it was, but it was some kind of a demon, they called it. But to be honest, I didn't get any bad feeling off the thing that I saw. It just startled me,
And was that the only thing you experienced at St. Albans, or were there other events as well that made you think that something was going on in that location?
Yeah, we've gotten pretty good EVPs from there, which, electronic voice phenomena. We've gotten, seen a whole bunch of different shadow forms there. One of them is actually kind of neat that a lot of people have seen. So have you ever seen a horror movie to where the person will get in the floor and move like a spider?
Yes.
Kind of like the undulating joints and all. So there's this thing, and it's always in this area called the Long Dark Hallway, and it actually bridges between electroshock and I think it's the up under where the boys' school was. It's kind of like a long black tunnel in there, and it's always seen coming through there, and we've seen that 2 or 3 times there. But it's just like a black spidery mass that comes across the floor, goes up the wall and across the ceiling, and then just disappears.
And you've seen that multiple times, and multiple people have seen it.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we'll, we'll set up different kinds of lights through there and stuff, and something's kind of neat. You never see it when there's an IR light through there, and I'm not sure why. We've tried photographing it, and it doesn't come up, and I think if it's a true shadow, when you put light onto it, you shouldn't see it, right? So I'm kind of why I'm thinking we're not getting it on camera.
And other people besides your team have experienced that creature, or okay?
Yeah, that's one of the more seen things there.
And are there St. Albans? This is open at various times for the general public to come in, or is it selective in the groups that can go there?
No, they do. So throughout the year, I think they're going to shut down, I want to say the end of August, because they do a haunted attraction, just like a haunted house type deal, from, I want to say, the beginning of September to the end of October, and then they'll open back up from November to December for if you want to rent the building out for the night. But they also do photograph tours, they do historical tours, and I think they are periodically throughout the year, and I think they're only like $10 to go and do. So if somebody wanted to go out and just see the location before seeing if they want to spend the money on it, they could, do the $10 little public investigation thing. And they'll do Paracons throughout the year. I do one there in May called EnigmaCon. So I know they'll have that one again next year.
So besides being a place that people can go to do serious research, there's an entertainment element to it, and then possibly a sort of a shared interest social element to it. So they do a con there. So that gets at something I think that from a skeptical point, people might say, okay, so you're doing this paranormal research, but someone's also running a haunted house in the place. And I don't know. A part of me says, okay, that sort of seems like they're trying to drum up business for the Halloween show by allowing people to do this at other times. But it also begs the question, can you have an interest in, say, horror and sci-fi and have that be something that's entertaining to you? Can you have that entertainment interest but also have the scientific interest?
Oh, yeah.
And
does that, so. I mean,
does that describe you?
That fits me, Yeah.
So you like ghosts because they're entertaining.
I do a thing in October at Scarefest, that's it's a horror conference is what it is, but they bring in paranormal speakers, so they kind of have mixed the two for that. And the reason that a lot of your haunted places do the haunted houses is it's the only way to stay afloat.
Sure.
And to keep enough money to keep the place open.
Probably not unlike historical places that might have plays or historical reenactments at them. They're entertaining people because they've got to keep the maybe the educational components or the preservation components afloat.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. In terms of going forward in your investigations, is there a case out there that you're hoping to stumble upon? Or one you know of that you're hoping to eventually have the time or resources to investigate yourself?
There's one location that I would love to get into, and I don't think there is ever any chance of that happening. Well, there's two locations. Let's put that. The one location is the Central Virginia Training School. I'd love to do there because that place is actually tied into Western State, where Dr. King came from.
Sure.
And it also has a very, very dark history if people want to look it up.
For our listeners, that Central Virginia Training Center is located right here where we are in Lynchburg.
Yes.
And it's
and
pretty much in the process
the White House,
of
you know.
Oh, this. Sure. You probably have a better chance of investigating the training center than you do the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, it's a heck of a lot closer. And I think it's pretty much closed down now, or in the process of...
Yeah, I think they only have 50 or 60 people maybe?
If that, yeah. So who knows, in a few years, there may be ample opportunities to explore it.
Yeah, I've tried to get in there, a bunch of times, but there's a lot of people that have snuck in there, and we don't do that. We're pretty ethical, and I don't go anywhere I don't have permission.
Well, is there something that you've heard about at the training center that has piqued your interest, or is it just a general interest?
Yeah, just a general interest because it's, you hear, rumors of the place, and then you see the historical significance that it had. And that it played with a lot of things leading up to World War II. That it's pretty rough, and you figure a lot of those things that could have held there or happened there, it's no telling what that place has held energy-wise. So I think it would be interesting just to see if something is there.
Well, if you do get a chance, I'd certainly like to hear about it. Of course, you seem to like to do things on the up and up, so there may be a few years before that's an opportunity. But I have to imagine that that's going to be a site that it's going to be hard for anyone else to use, and so maybe it will become something like a St. Albans, where just because the city or the state needs to maintain it, that they'll be open to people coming in and, I think you said the term you used for St. Albans was renting it for the day or the night to do their own experiments or observations.
Yeah. One can only hope,
Now, was there something, I understand that you did some other research here in Lynchburg at the Academy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we did that on Sunday, just a kind of a mini investigation, I guess you would call it. So like I said, if we do a huge one, it takes days and, and hours, and I don't want to have to put Tabitha through that to get in there, so.
Well, for our listeners, the Academy is a newly renovated theater that is rather storied. It closed down in the, I guess, early 60s or late 50s, I believe. And when it closed down, it was still segregated. And then it was laying abandoned for decades, and then just this past December, it was after many years and millions of dollars of renovation, it was reopened, and I was there, and to see Mavis Staples perform was an incredible thing for Lynchburg to have that be the opening performance and the first integrated or non-segregated performance in that theater was an amazing thing to see and experience.
Right.
But that's me digressing about the academy itself. Did you find anything of interest while you were investigating?
Not yet. We're still going through everything. I had to work yesterday, so that's 24 hours. I didn't get to listen to audio. So, so far nothing has really stood out.
I can appreciate though the grind that must be of looking through, all that footage and audio and trying to see something. I'm sure is tedious.
Oh yeah, but I mean, to me that's the fun part, because that and actually being in certain locations is the neat part. Because the actual investigation part, unless things are really popping and clicking and happen, it can get fairly boring after a while.
Sure. So, like a lot of things that involve research, whether that's archaeology or history, it's combing through lots of data. It's combing through lots of things and can be a real grind. So this is not the sexy stuff you see in a movie. It's hard work.
No. Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's not what you see on TV, because they'll film for 10 or 12 days for 43 minutes of footage.
Sure.
So it's a whole lot that goes into it.
And not to mention on TV, they probably have really 10 minutes of footage that they're stretching out to 40 because it's all, coming up next.
Right.
Because, this is, you're seeing small bits of what is that? Still very intriguing, but things get hyped up for entertainment purposes.
Right.
But it seems to me like you avoid the hype and the sensationalism because you have a different approach to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I guess we're in it for totally different reasons, So we a lot of the big flashy equipment that you see, a lot of it we don't use. We stay to things that we actually know 100% how they are supposed to work, and the things that can give false readings and stuff. But we're always testing new pieces of equipment all the time just to see if that is something that we would, want to purchase. Because it's funny, you can take one little, let's just say it was a cat toy or something, and say that cat toy was, you could buy it for $2 at the store. Well, somebody will take it, rebrand it and call it some kind of paranormal gizmo and charge up to like $70-$80 for it, So you got to be really wary on the things that actually work and what you try to use now.
I have to imagine, heck, even in medicine and healthcare, there is a lot of hucksterism out there of what this laser can do for you, or what this ionic device can do for you. So I have to imagine that also exists in the paranormal sphere.
Oh yeah, I mean I would say it's a multi-million-dollar industry now if you could get one thing on television, and because everybody that sees it on television, they're going to want to buy it,
Sure.
So they go out there and people spend tons of money on things that you can probably make for $80 yourself.
Right. Well, speaking of the financial side, do you do this as a commercial business?
No, I never charge for anything.
You don't?
No, sir.
This is because you have a true interest in what you might find, but also a true interest in helping people.
Right. I mean, if they truly need help, the least thing that they need is another bill.
Sure.
I don't believe in it.
Now, do you think anyone ever has set something up to be found? Obviously that's happened in, at large in the world, but ever in your investigations here in Central Virginia that someone created a situation because they wanted you to investigate it and blow it up?
No. I've heard of locations that charge for investigations of possibly putting audio through and stuff like that. I've heard of that. But as far as somebody, becoming the next Amityville, I haven't heard of anything around our area for that.
So from your experience, you've got, for the most part, people who have legitimate concerns, and you go in there and do a legitimate check for what it might be.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So if someone were listening to the program and wanted to get in touch with you or your organization, how could they do that?
So we used to run a website, and we stopped doing that because it was inundated with false claims, I guess you would say, which made it hard to find the right ones to go investigate. So you can get in touch with me at on my phone is the best. It's 434-660-0244, and I'd say that is the number one way to get in touch with us.
Can you say that one more time?
It's 434-660-0244.
And ask for Alan.
Yes, sir.
Alan, I really appreciate you having you on the show. And if you would like to come back at some point when you have some more stories to share, we would absolutely love to have you.
I'd love to come back, and if you guys ever want to go again, let me know, and we can make it happen.
Sounds great. Appreciate your time, Alan. You take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Until next time, be sure to check out our website at hillcityparanormal.com, and thank you for listening. This has concluded this episode.